Hi, it's me again with Corel Tips and Tricks Part 2. The gentleman got back to me. He's actually told me he's from South Africa. And I've helped him before, and he actually sent me a video that I sent him before for him. And it makes a little bit more sense, even though this is a joint box, a finger joint box. And he sent me this file. And I stated yesterday, there's no way to do it because you could actually do it, but you'd have to sand pieces to get this to work. So we're going to do it with a little bit of a gap and think about some things and build the wall. So the first thing I'm thinking about that this thing is only less than I changed your millimeters to inches just to help me, but it'd be the same. And with inches, you're going to normally use a 1/8 inch plywood to do this. Well, an 1/8 inch and an 1/8 inch, there's not enough space. If we put an 8 inch piece of wood in there in a joint of an 1/8 inch, putting a hole in here, well, let's just do it. Let's just draw a 0.125. And just kind of show you that there's really no room left. It's too close. It's going to break. So we need to change one of these dimensions. So we're actually going to change the outside one by holding down the shift key. So I'm going to get the two-sided arrow, then hold down the shift key, and I'm going to expand it out a little bit because that's going to be now his new border. So what we need to do, figuring this out, is we need a piece of wood that will only stretch from there to there. So what we have to do is take a 2-point line, or the way I would do it, take a 2-point line and go there, and that way you've got the right angle, and then you can go back into Corel and make that line longer. So we need a piece of wood that'll fit in here from here to here, but the piece of wood can't be at an angle. So it's going to have to be, well, I don't even know if that'll work on a diagonal. Let's plus key that, put that down there. So this really doesn't matter. I'm just trying to get some reference. And then let's put a 2-point line perpendicular and put it there. Don't worry about the other line. Should snap right to that node. Hit the plus key and go right here. This is only used for measurement. We need right in the middle, thereabout, now that I think about it, don't have to even do this. You don't have to hit your calculator. I'm trying to hit the delete key. My delete key is in the middle. And so this piece that I actually drew is kind of almost perfect. And if you get the two-sided cross, because it's in the center. But we don't know how long that is. So what we're going to do is just take the parallel dimension tool and go from about the middle to the middle, and we got 1.09. So we're going to build the side piece. It is going to be 1.09 long, and it's going to be 1.25 because that's the thickness of the plywood. Now, I don't know the angle of this, so what we're going to do is we're going to take the angular dimension tool, and we're going to get right there on that node. I'm going to hold down the control button, and then I'm going to move it up to there. So it's 30.74 inches, or 30.74 degrees. So I'm going to take this and rotate it. Really, I might have to move the rotation, 30.74. And that gives us that angle. But see, now I'm a little bit long because I'm thicker. So we're just going to kind of eyeball it and just kind of bring it in. You see, that's going to be touching there, and that's going to be touching there. And So that's pretty good right there. And we just happen to be maybe in the center, but we can make it in the center. Matter of fact, if we do this right here, put this back, and that's might have why I did it the first time. I want in the center of that spot, so I'm going to fill that in with a Smart Fill tool. And I'm going to left click, right click, and see it's at an angle, but I'm just trying to get the center. Well, I kept moving that one. Let me see if I can't grab this. And then it should snap to this center. Now let's move it over back over to our object. And that way we know it's in the center. So let's get rid of all these lines. This might be a little bit confusing, but it really makes kind of sense. Now, on this, I would just put one tab right in the middle. So let's build a tab. And the tab is going to be 0.5 of an inch and 0.125. And it's the same thickness as our wood. But what we can do is move this over now, and when it clicks in the center, and now let's rotate it that 30.74 degrees. And we have our tab. Now, what's kind of neat about this design, we don't have to do this all the time, all the way around. So I'm going to grab that, Control G. I'm going to Control D to duplicate it, and I'm going to mirror it, and I'm going to put it right there. Okay? Now what I want to do is group this, Control G, and I'm going to make a copy and put it out. I didn't make a Control D and put it back. Now, because of this shape is repetitive and symmetrical, we can take that and Control D, double click on the rotation, and put our center there, and we're going to rotate it 45 degrees because that's the angle, or not really the angle, but there's that many. So that's what it's going to look like. So now what we have to do is, let's see how big this is. And first of all, this is really little for the one I'm doing it for, but we're going to go with it. Now I want to make the holes for the tabs or the joints. So I'm going to take my Smart Fill tool, fill that in, but I'm going to nudge them over. I don't need really the other piece. I just need these pieces. And you'll see in just a second. And also one other thing I would think would be beneficial. So now we can, and remember we made a copy of this. So we can just take this and move it out of the way, take the inside, move it out of the way. I would not delete these, I would move them out of the way. So this is what it's going to look like. So that's the point where the joints are going to go in. That's the holes. Because if you look at it, we make this the wood, that's what it's going to look like. So that part is done and saved a lot of time because it was symmetrical. Now what we need to do is take one of these, we'll actually ungroup it. And we'll just take one of these, and I'm going to let's go at negative 30.74 and put it flat. Okay, this is, so one of these isn't an eighth. That's 125. Let's tell you what that whole thing is. Let's ungroup this. So I didn't make that one. You know what? Maybe I didn't. You know what? When I reduced it up there, so with my ratio unlocked, I want to make it 0.125. So that's what our tabs are going to look like. Now he needs to figure out how tall the wall is going to be. And what I would do is just make a piece of wood that is 1.34 wide. So go 1.34. No, that's not right. this thing is 1.034. 1.034. So that's the, and then let's say the box is going to be just 1 inch tall. Okay. He can make that 1.5 inches. He can make it 2 inches, whatever. Now we're going to take this. Well, actually, we don't need all that, but we're going to use it. So I'm going to Control G, and I'm going to put this right here. I'm going to Control G, D, or hit the plus key, Control D, or hit the plus key on the keyboard. And that has to be dead on. Okay, this is easy. Take the virtual segment delete key and delete through there. And there's your tab with your finger joints. And it's the tab is 1.25 tall, which will sit in those holes. And the good thing about this, let me left click, right click, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18 of them. You need 18 of these. So it's, a little over 1 inch, make your nudge factor 1.2 and make you 18 of these. And a good thing to kind of find out is you don't have to count them. You can select them by Corel. We got 18. Shows you right there. So then make a duplicate of this. And that is your bottom piece. This is going to be your top piece, or it's going to be the border of the top piece, and it's going to be open. It's going to be an open box unless, well, there's really no way to put a box on there, a lid, and like even any kind of hinge. So this right now is going to be an open box unless he needs more help. Now, the only other thing I would do to this drawing, so we're done. It didn't take very long. So there's your pieces. The only other thing I would do on this particular piece is, these pieces are going to just barely be touching. But this piece is going to be kind of sticking out there and sharp. So I would suggest doing that. You know what? I'm going to change my nudge factor to bigger. Let's make it 4 inches. I would suggest doing this to the bottom and the top on the outside. I wouldn't change the inside. This is a little bit tricky, but it's not. So we're going to open up the Windows Dockers corners so it'll be open. I'm going to take the shape tool and select all this. Okay, if you notice it only selected one and it's red because it's still a polygon. So we need to take it, go to object and convert it to a curve. And now all the nodes are going to click up. Now, we only want to do the outside. I don't want to mess with the inside. So I'm going to select all the nodes. I'm going to hold down the Shift and the Alt button. And I'm going to use a model. So the Alt button actually makes this like lasso, and the Shift does that. So we've deselected the inside. We've got the outside selected, and we're going to hit apply. That just rounded off the corners, and you could do more or less. And the good thing is, I think it looks better. It's not going to scratch anybody or be sharp, and it doesn't interfere with our parts. I must have deleted the part. So to maybe help you understand, so you're going to take this one, and one kind of good way to show it is to bring it over and put this right there, then double click and move the rotation to there, and then move this down to here. So that's what it's going to look like, but it's going to be standing up so that that piece is going to be right here and not sticking over the other piece. And it's going to be standing up and it's going to go right there. So let's, so it's going to be basically looking like that. So that piece is going to go to there. Let's make a duplicate of that. And, well, I don't know what the angle would be. Some of my math friends would already have the angle in their head. Let's just do the same thing on this. Move the center rotation to here now. And if you grab it like right there, it'll snap to it. So that's what it's going to look like. And then if we move this piece here, you're going to have a little gap. You're going to have to. I think it'll actually add to it. And we could have got it closer, but if we look at it from top to top, well, we really need to do an inside one. So let's do this, hit the plus key and mirror it. And just keep reminding or remember that this is, so those pieces are going to have a gap too. So either I made a bad measurement or I think the gap will be beneficial. It almost looks like it's on purpose because you're going to have the gap here and a gap here. I truly hope that helped him or somebody in the future. Just remember, this is your bottom piece. This is going to be basically your top piece. And matter of fact, I probably should have put these on the bottom. Well, I'm not going to take the time now. There we go. Yep. Anyway, well, that's the outside, and I'm using the inside here. So I truly hope that helped. In the original drawing, he had 3 pieces. This is so little, I can't see making 3 pieces. It could be done exactly the same thing, but your tabs are going to be really little. And really you only need 1. And I would start on the bottom one and put a little glue and put them all in there. And, the glue's not going to dry right away, and then go back and put your top on and just individually and, test them to make sure before you glue them that they fit. Surely at whatever millimeter plywood you're using, you'll figure that out. And the kerf will take away this part, but the thickness of the wood has to be correct. Maybe do a test piece before you, like take that one and take this one and cut those 2 out on your laser. Matter of fact, you could take a box, cut that out, and make sure that fits in that hole. Because if it doesn't, you're messed up. You could make it a little bit wider. But the kerf will take this part away and really that part too. So it should be perfect. Anyway, I hope that helped a little bit. Thank you for watching.